what's your other story?
So my other story is about Punk. I'm using the laptop that I sent it to you on. Do you want to read it, Glenn? Or do you have it?
Joe, why don't you hit up? And you can edit this, Kevin, and see if he's going to do the Ventura thing. I'm sure you were going to do that anyways, right? Mm-hmm.
Next is So Punk from 2005 to 2014 in WWE made $9.5 million. In two UFC fights, he made $1.2 million. And in 13 months, supposedly, if he's not coming back to AEW, they're buying him out. They're going to pay him for 2 years, minus a year. The month he's suspended. He will have made $9.6 million.
Well, that's not the story. Did I not send you the story? Joe's got the story. Like, Joe, can you read the story? Did you have it?
Yeah. Oh, the Punk on Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go and read that, Joe.
All right, so that'll add more context to what you're saying because.
Yeah, let me see that.
All right,
maybe you did send it.
Billy sent me this story earlier regarding CM Punk. It's up on his Patreon, and he also posted it for free on Twitter. It says, Patreon exclusive, AEW set to lose millions on CM Punk. The about to hit the fan with the CM Punk situation due to Tony Khan giving Punk permission to shoot at the AEW media scrum, having no idea he would attack half the roster. AEW did not have grounds to fire CM Punk for gross misconduct and instead could only slap Punk with a 30-day unpaid suspension. With Punk injured for 7 months and with the AEW deals not structured like WWE deals, downside guarantees plus appearance minimum, criteria plus merchandise sales plus bonuses, meaning talents get full agreed pay no matter what, and Punk is set to be paid in full for the entire 7 months. When Punk is finally cleared to return, he will only have 3 months left of his deal. Therefore, it's highly unlikely that AEW will bring Punk back on TV, with Punk's third year on his current deal being optional, an option neither Punk or AEW are probably interested in. They could retain Punk until his return and have him come in and put guys over for 3 months on his way out, but it's highly unlikely Punk will be willing to do that given the creative control on his deal. This means they can't even fire him for breaching contract for refusing to do jobs, thus saving themselves 3 months of his salary. As it stands, a buyout looks like the most likely outcome, with CM Punk set to receive $4.17 million as settlement.
So that would mean CM Punk in 13 months of AEW will have made $417,000 a match. And think about that. He fought for real in UFC for $600,000. AEW paid him to work for $417 each time.
He got $700 for the first fight and $500 for the second fight in UFC because it was the second fight paid less. But just to sort of like summarize that, so they can't get out of this deal because what he did doesn't pass as gross misconduct. They have to pay him while he's injured because they don't have a WWE deal which has a minimum number of dates on it. They can't carry it over like they did with Rey Mysterio a few years back where Rey was injured. So they said to him, oh, you've been injured for 8 months, so you owe us 8 months. They can't do that. They can't. There's no structure here. Like, deals are deals. Like this, the whole thing they're doing is like they're trying to be this. Oh, this wrestling union doesn't exist, so we're like the fan-friendly organization. Well, this is like biting them in the arse because Punk's been injured twice and they've had to pay him because they're a fan-friendly organization. They're the organization that have hired too many people, so everybody sits at home and are not on television and collects their money. So, I mean, a lot of these guys.
How much is Saraya getting, you think?
She'd be getting more than $1 million because of her Twitch. Her Twitch channel would be making $1 million anyway, and then she was charging the third most appearances for StarCast. Right, she was, and they were charging the third most for her as well. Like she cost them more than Brett. She cost them more than Brett. She cost them more than Foley. Like she would have like been getting top money. So she's not going to be coming here for anything less than that.
To step back for a moment. Sorry, Billy. When it comes to the Punk news we just reported, which side is against him returning? Does Punk not want to return? Does Tony not want him to return? Is it corporate or is it like mutual?
That part of the story is an assumption because he could come back and do 3 months, but like with all this going on and the locker room was so they say, so Meltzer says and Sean Ross Sapp says. By the way, Sean Ross Sapp reported that everything had gone cold on Paige and that AEW believed that she was going to back to WWE under the new regime. That's how reliable he is. He said that she was going back to a company that didn't medically clear her because in his brain, Triple H changing for Vince somehow meant they were going to use a worse doctor that would suddenly start clearing injured people. and then he was completely proven wrong like 24 hours later. So
is she going to wrestle for AEW?
Yeah, I mean they're building towards wrestling matches. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter challenged her and told her like today, like that there was a video released to say you need to turn around and go.
Bro, Cody, we were just talking about that, but why was that not on the show?
Is it going to be? Did they tape it?
Like we were talking about Saraya comes out. I thought it was she gets a big pop, and I still say, okay, it's Flash. Well, she didn't do anything.
No, they could.
Like, you really want to make it. It's not an impactful. It's not an impactful appearance.
I keep saying this every week. Like, they're not listening to Jericho. They're not listening to people that they're not listening to Punk. They have somebody like Konnan there who books another company. Tony Khan doesn't ask Konnan for his advice. How the do you go off the air? How do you do a 30-minute title match and then not do the aftermath, the celebration, whatever? You get the winner of the title held the belt up for 15 seconds and you went off the air. How do you do wrestling that way?
Well, they claimed it like 3 minutes to celebrate. So it's like, it's timing to the show, bro. You got to understand. It's like if guys go over on time, you can't do anything.
But they shouldn't go over.
You got to go on out, and the guys are in the ring, and they're not finished, and you don't have any time left. That's on the talent. That's not his fault. That's the talent going too long. Those are two professional guys. They went too long.
We saw Hogan hug the Warrior because the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan finished with it.
I'm just telling you, bro. That's a pay-per-view. Sometimes, bro, in our pay-per-views used to be, we had to buy extra time. Like there is, if you weren't on like 2 hours and 50 minutes, you had to call the thing. Hey, we need like 5 minutes and pay for extra time sometimes.
I remember it actually went off the air once. Halloween Havoc 98 went off the air before the main event.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable for Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley to go over. There should have been at their level. Had there been a message put through to them, they would have gone home in time to have the aftermath. You can't have the champion there with the belt for 15
Bro,
seconds.
I completely agree. At their level and as much money as they're making, they should not be going over. That's inexcusable.
Right. Yeah. Konnan, what do you think about what's going to come out of Punk? Why would he wrestle anymore?
You know what's kind of funny? I had a interview today earlier with Nick Hausman. Do you remember him, Joe?
Yeah.
Di?
Yeah, of course. He's the guy that teed off the whole Punk Scrum thing.
Yeah,
right.
He was with WrestleZone and he did a early version of Bischoff's podcast.
Yeah.
So we went back we were kind of going back and forth on because I was asking, what were you thinking when this meltdown was going? Was it surreal? He goes, yeah, it was surreal. And he was like, who do you think they get rid of, the Elite or Punk? And I said, I think it's Elite. And he goes, no, I think it's going to be I said, I think it's going to be Punk. And he said, I think it's the Elite. And he was saying that he thought, well, Tony was there. He never cut off Punk's mic. He kind of knew Punk was going to say that. He never really, if you remember when he said, oh, well, this guy couldn't manage a target and this guy's a dumb.
They think they're still
Tony just was going like this. He never said, hey, knock it off, or I don't think we need to go there, cut off the mic. And that, he's a real big Punk fan. That's who he wanted from the very beginning. And then I was thinking to myself, that is kind of true, because I remember when AEW first started and the Young Bucks were like real big Punk fans, and we're trying to get Punk. And I said, well, why don't you? Because he wants too much money. So that was somebody they always wanted from the beginning. And do you remember the time that Tony kind of fanboyed out on Punk and he was like, he's the best here.
Yeah, top draw.
Best ratings.
Yeah, right.
And responding to Bischoff, yeah.
Right. And then he was telling me also, he goes, and you also got to remember there was heat between Cody and the Elite, and now there's heat between them and Punk. He goes, they're paying them a lot of money, and I don't think this is what he said. I don't think if he had to pick somebody, he would pick Punk. And I go, to me, at the end of the day, if there's enough people in the dressing room that don't want Punk back, why would you bring him back? If I were Tony, I'd sit everybody down and said, hey, let's be professionals and let's all work.
And there has to be some level where you're right, and there has to be some level where they're unsure, because otherwise Kenny Omega wouldn't be reaching out to WWE to find out what his situation was, what the possibility was of him going.
So you think, Billy, can you imagine if the Elite just showed up on WWE, Omega and the Young Bucks, or if Punk showed up over there?
Well,
either one could happen, right?
I don't think Punk could show up on WWE, but no. I definitely think that Kenny could. I'm not sure about the Bucks. I know that they're very ready to welcome Kenny Omega in with open arms, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything about the Bucks.
To Connan's point, I made a very interesting point here, bro. You got they're your executive vice presidents, right? They've already caused two problems philosophy-wise. They're not getting along. You know, they heat with two of your top guys, and one of them left, and the other one's not going to put rest for the company anymore.
And would you agree that the two people left
but here's the problem.
Are bigger draws than the three that are remaining?
Oh, for sure.
Right.
I mean, the numbers haven't lied. Kenny and the Bucks have not done numbers like Punk did, and like you could the numbers are underwhelming for them to like have clout on whether or not who draws more, right? For everybody involved, right? But I will say this, and this is the Tony's problem, bro. You get rid of the Elite, how is your fan base going to react? Like, because this company was formed on basically the foundation of those guys. And I don't know if this, I mean, you see how petty wrestling fans are and how polarized they are and how vicious they are to get back at people and stuff. What if you get rid of those guys and your fan base just gets so toxic and just we're not going to watch this anymore?
Yeah, plus the fan base, like you said, they started watching and supporting because of the Elite who were hot at the time. But with Punk, it's like, if you look at the social media, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but it looks like it goes like 70-30 in support of the Elite. Like, there's not a lot of fans that are on Punk's side in
Bro,
that
is that no. 30% is a lot. That's
what
not
I mean.
Insignificant.
Yes,
5% would be insignificant, but bro, you're talking about you got three fans and two of them are for one guy, one's for the other guy.
Right.
That's significant. This is definitely
that's more than a quarter of your audience.
Yeah,
right.
but I think like I said, 30% is on the Punk train, and the bigger numbers with the Elite.
That's you don't want to lose any.
You don't want to lose any.
You don't want to lose any of them, right?
You want to make these guys work together.
Yeah. All right.